now we've got a little bit of some interactive stuff happening. So Keith and I are going to go through some questions on Slido. Just a warning, we haven't practiced this, so it could go pear-shaped, but you'll bear with us, I'm sure. All right, so first thing I have to do is pull up the website. That's your QR code for the Slido questions, so scan that in, and then Jackie, if we just give everyone a second to get there. Everyone, are we there? Are we there yet?
So what, we're going to be asking them questions?
No, we're going to be asking them questions, and then we're going to talk about their questions. So this is your first question. What additional training, if any, you think would benefit HSRs? So pop it into Slido. If it's too big an answer, then feel free to put your hand up and we'll run over to you with the microphone. We can do. All right, so psychosocial hazards training, okay. Predictably, it is one of your biggest challenges as a HSR. Chem Alert, okay, really encourage you to have a look at the Farm Safety Forum from Safe Work October. Lee Holland did a brilliant presentation about chemicals in the workplace and understanding how to read a safety data sheet. So have a look at that. Mental health first aid, excellent. So still in that psychosocial space. Cert 4 of Whoosh, we used to do a link to that under the safety rep thing, but that's gone by the by. Might need to speak to your employers about that. What's jumping out for you, Keith? Look. I'm trying to... Understanding reasonably practicable. After Keith's performance earlier, maybe we should get him to do a whole session on that. Would that be working for you? Oh, suicide awareness. That's a really big one, particularly in the resources sector. And there is a lot of material on our website about that, but some specific training would be definitely good. How to liaise, negotiate with your PCBU. That after psychosocial and identifying your psychosocial hazards, liaising with your PCBU and consulting is definitely going to be one of your biggest challenges, particularly if you're not used to dealing with management. What about Keith? Anything jump out for you?
Well, maybe the workplace inspections.
Oh, okay, yes. So having being able to tap into an inspector about inspections, or just training?
That was one of the things I missed in one of the links. On the WorkSafe website, there's a lot of good information. Checklists and audits that you could find useful. There's a number of areas, because obviously it's quite a specific thing. So there's a number of areas that have the updated checklist, so that's under the new legislation. But there are still a whole list of others that, even though it's under OSH, but a checklist is just a guide anyway. So you might find those checklists useful.
Some really excellent responses, so thank you very much for that. Oh, okay, next question, Jackie. All right, how did you learn about the HSR Matters website? It's so that we can communicate. If we know who we've captured, we need to know who we haven't captured. Keith, you're famous. Felgate Safety, yes, Kay is a big fan of the new website. The newsletter, community education officers, thank you for the plug, appreciate that. That would be Natalie and I. Wave Natalie, Natalie's at the back. Your Whoosh manager, that's great. I need more votes for the community education officers. I need to catch up with Keith. Email from Demers. email from work safety away. Excellent. Weekly webinar. Thank you. That's 2 for me. I'll take that. WorkSafe event. So that was everyone at the Everybody Matters at the October Safe Work Month Forum. There were some flyers out there. Excellent. So that was effective. All right. Fantastic. Social media. Excellent. All right. Big question, this one. Tricky question. Does your management take notice when you raise a concern? Are they receptive? Occasionally. Yes, I'm glad yes is a big one. Though we were talking in the break about the fact that you have HSRs in your workplaces kind of indicates that your workplace is on the right track in terms of health and safety. Most of the time, not all of the time, rarely. Well, that's worried. Not if their contract is ending. That's a message in there, isn't there? It depends on how much it costs. You might need to speak to Rob about how you get that over the line, because he's been very successful in getting some big ticket items across the line.
What's reasonably practicable?
Oh, okay. Lower management, no. Only to the extent for ACE. What's ACE? Am I missing something there? Multiple levels of management to navigate. Yes, you can see how that's would be a problem. And yes, the time it takes to implement those changes. But as long as you're getting them started, that's really important. So as long as you're having those conversations. All right. Excellent. Some great responses there. All right, so has everyone done the 5-day HSR training course? Let's see how many people have. There's a lot of confusion in that space. People often don't realise that it's actually not mandatory to do the training. It's highly encouraged that you do the training because obviously you're going to function much better as a HSR if you have done the training. Yes, but the old one. So that's well worth having a look and thinking about. I think you can get on a refresher course because then that will update you with the legislation. Because other than the legislation, the principles are the same.
And remember, it is an entitlement, the training,
yes,
and the annual refresher.
It's an entitlement and it's one you should action if you can. And again, it's another opportunity for you to network with other HSRs. So these are one opportunity, but your training course is probably the first opportunity you have in order to be able to network with other HSRs.
The question about does the Cert 4 count? It's certainly great if you've done the Cert 4 or are completing the Cert 4, but it's not the same as the health and safety rep training. Really encourage you to do that.
So if you've done the Cert 4, you wouldn't be able to issue pins or direct the cessation of unsafe work. So that's the key thing. So while you might have a lot of knowledge, you don't have that authority. Okay, thanks, Jackie. I'm still really pleased that yes is the big one. Anyone done the 1-day refresher training? Yes?
This would be...
Doing it tomorrow. Excellent.
Is that a question? So you got your hand up?
Yeah, hang on, Steve from
Hang on a minute, let me get a microphone to you, Steve, please, so that everyone can... Yeah, we do. We need it for the recording.
You don't want to hear my dulcet tones. The comment you made before about the safety reps entitled to do the training, in the actual Act, it states that they must request it from the mine operator, which I found really weird, but that's the actual where it's written in there.
Yep.
And I only found that out from a training organisation until I went back and read it.
Correct. As I said, when you stick your hand up to be a health and safety rep, all the people in here are doing it for the right reason. They want to make a difference. But it's a completely voluntary role. You do not have to do it, as I said. But to do that role to the best of your ability, you need to do the training, but you don't have to.
I totally agree.
So
Absolutely.
that's why it's on request. The HSR must request it.
Yep. I just thought that was really important to make that
Yep.
obvious for everyone in the room so they knew.
And
So as soon as you request it, sorry, Kate, I'm dominating things, but I'm that kind of gal. As soon as you request it, we were going to do a Mad Cat Lady and Groundskeeper Willie thing, but we didn't practice, so we haven't gone there. So just think Mad Cat Lady here. And it's important to remember that when you request it, the PCBU must provide it within 3 months and 1 day of you requesting it. So it's nothing to do with the date you were elected, it's the date you request it. All right?
And also I tried to ask before if nobody put their hand up, and it's not a name and shame, but if anybody hadn't done the current 5-day course but had done the OSH one, because the Act actually states if you've done the previous course, the PCBU doesn't have to let you do the new one. Again, you'd look at, well, how long ago was that? And certainly, if that is the case, you really should be trying to do the refresher course.
And one of the questions is need to, but don't know where you can find it. Links to it are on the HSR Matters website as well as on the WorkSafe general page. You'll be able to find links to the RTOs who are delivering either the 5-day or the 1-day refresher. So just have a look on the website and that will direct you to those RTOs that are doing it, some of whom are in the room today.
Yeah, it's definitely, so on the RTO, they said there was, on the HSR Matters, the 3, one of them, so the
in
HSR,
several places.
PCBU, RTO, it's on the RTO, but it's also on the HSR site. If you scroll down, you can find the trainers.
All right, Jackie, hit us with the next question. Did you find the training useful? Scary. This is a scary question. Be nice. Absolutely. Oh, I like that one.
Yeah,
Thumbs up. Yes, good.
Forget Susan said there are some RTO providers here.
Yes, met industry pairs, yes. And again, hopefully, if you feel safe in that space, sharing contact details with those people, because they are someone, again, you can get information from and, bounce ideas off, because that's really, really important. Consultation. A triple plus for KF. Alrighty.
Is one of Kay's relatives here?
Eye opener, yep. Great course, excellent. General specific training. Okay, so there was a bit of an overlap with the different industries. Okay, that's interesting. And you do know that you have the right to choose your training provider. So if perhaps when you did your 5-day course, there was too much resources sector or too much overlap, next time when you come to do the refresher, have a look at the training providers, ring them up, ask them, do you have specific training? Do you do healthcare? Do you do mining? Do you do retail as a specific standalone course? And then maybe you'll be able to target a bit better in that space.
Sorry, even if
is that a hand up for a question?
Even if it's not specific, if they'll give you an idea, like some RTOs will have more of one type of industry present, so then it makes it easier to focus on the issues in your industry.
So the hand up icon, is that just a yes, it was great, or is that a question? No? Okay. All right, Jackie. Has anyone written a pen? Yes?
You'll all be writing them after Kathy's session.
Not yet? No, yay, yes. Hope never to.
We're not encouraging it. It's a tool that you have, and ideally you can negotiate and consult with your management and PCBU and not need to get to that stage. So it's just something that you can use if required.
Yes, remember it's last resort. All right, thanks. Because you don't have to actually let us know when you've issued PINs. We only hear about them if they get challenged by your PCBU. So, all right, were you aware of the HSR handbook? All right, well, you are now, for those of you who said no.
In fairness, it is quite new.
It is. Oh, it's not new, because we did have a handbook under the previous legislation, but we had to obviously update it for the new legislation. And obviously when the new legislation came in, that was our focus, was on getting the legislation bedded down and PCBUs educated. Now that that's done, because we're 2 and a bit years in, we can now focus on other areas. So handbook and HSRs is definitely on the agenda for that. All right. Looking forward to reading it, good-o. Do we know what cessation of unsafe work is?
Remembering that any worker can or has the right to cease unsafe work. It's a HSR that can direct it, though.
Excellent. We've still got 8 people talking there, Keith, so.
What happens if a worker doesn't stop work, if you direct it but they ignore that?
That's a great question. So the question was, what happens if you direct someone to stop working because it's unsafe and they refuse? What would be the answer, Keith? Call us?
You're not, you don't have a taser, you don't have a baton. Hopefully the person would see the sense that you're pointing out. I mean, obviously you're aware there's certain conditions, so it's going to be serious and imminent. And you try, as far as reasonably practical, to consult with the PCBU. Obviously, if it's immediate there, you have to stop and then consult. So, again, by letting them know that you have that right to direct them, but also that you're going straight off to see the PCBU. And hopefully, yeah, again, it's the powers of persuasion.
All right, thank you, Jackie. If we could have our next question. Oh, or is that all of them? We're done. Keith, we're ahead of time. This is unheard of for me. It's you, your influence.
Do you mean I get to come back?
You do. All right, so thank you very much for engaging in our Slido polls. It helps inform us as to what we need to do in terms of resourcing for you and what we need to be focusing on and where we can put our energies. Because obviously if we've got targeted focus, less waste of resources, and that's what it's all about. All right, thank you, Keith. You may resume your seat.